Audioversity, the voice of Reichman University.
The Baseline. Stories from the court with Jonathan Meir and Meir Cohen.
Welcome back to The Baseline. We've got episode 6 here today. We've got an amazing guest with us live on Zoom. We're here with Tamir Goodman. So for those who don't know, Tamir is an accomplished basketball player who started playing basketball in Maryland. At a point was ranked top 25 players in the entire country. Hopefully you've all heard the tagline, the Jewish Jordan, that we have for Tamir. You had a lot of opportunities after your high school ball, an opportunity to play at University of Maryland, which, you ultimately turned down, a lot of to do with religious purposes in terms of you want to keep Shabbat. You played a little bit at Townsend University. And then you came to Israel to play in 2002. You played for a bunch of teams, including the IDF, which is interesting, a bit of a twist, which is really cool. And you've been a lot of experience, and you've just battled through a lot in your basketball career. And we were really, really excited to do this interview with you. Our goal as a podcast is, just bring a little bit of life to the basketball scene here in Israel for Americans who like to get into it, whether it's the Israeli League, whether it's interviewing players like you who have amazing careers. So first of all, again, just thank you very much. You have an impressive resume, and we're just happy to have you on the show
Really
today.
appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for thinking of me, and kol hakavod on your initiative here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, we're just going to get really quick started into it with the $1 million question that I'm sure you've answered 100,000 times. But just for us, sprinkle a little magic on it for us one more time. So obviously we both have our experiences playing high school basketball, but a little different for you, kind of turning into a bit of a sensation. Obviously you managed to achieve that Jewish Jordan status, but I just want a little bit just to start, just to get a little bit of into your career and into your life as a kid. How were you able to, take that attention and take that power that you've got with that name on the court, and how are you able to fuel it into powering your play and really just motivating yourself to be the best basketball player you could be?
Well, I fell in love with the game when I was 9 years old, and I looked at my hands one day in the backyard while I was training, and I said, I want to show the world that I could get a Division I scholarship without playing on Shabbat, and a professional basketball contract without playing on Shabbat. So from day one, it really wasn't about me. It was about a mission. It wasn't just about me. It was about doing it for something bigger than myself. And that gave me a lot of extra motivation. I played varsity in 7th grade for my local high school team. Wow. And I started in 8th grade. But then towards the end of 8th grade, the rabbi of the school that I was going to, one of the rabbis was like, look, you're really, how are you really, really, what are you going to accomplish with basketball? It's not really going to be possible with Shabbat and everything. So maybe you should stop playing. So he's like, maybe Hashem doesn't want you to play basketball. So I listened to him, and I stopped playing basketball in 9th grade. And I went to yeshiva. I went to this yeshiva in Pittsburgh, a Chabad yeshiva, kind of with the idea of, giving up on basketball because Hashem doesn't want me to play basketball. And I sit down in the first class, and the rabbi in Chabad, they study Torah before they pray. Most schools, you just pray right away. Chabad, they study Torah. So we get in there on the first day, 7:30 in the morning, open up the books, and we're learning this Torah class, and says that Hashem gives everybody in this world a special mission, and everyone has their own unique talents and blessings, and you try to our job is to create a better world, uplift things, create more spirituality through physicality, and everyone has their unique way of doing it. Hashem gives everyone their unique skill set to do that. That's our mission in this world. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So I'm like, well, why am I quitting basketball? So I have to play basketball, but I have to play for Hashem. So I called up my mother, and I was like, I'm out of here. I want to go back home, play ball, play for Hashem. And she's like, no, you can't. You made a commitment. You got to stay till the end of the year. So stay till the end of the year, and then you can do whatever you want next year, but you made a commitment. So then I called up a little bit later in the year. I called up my coach who raised me, and I was like, Coach, can I come back to Baltimore and play next year? He was like, look, if you come back, this is before cell phones. I'm on the payphone in the yeshiva.
Yeah.
He's like, if you come back, I'm going to paint your name on the baseline. That's what he told me. If you come back to play, I'm going to paint your name. He's basically saying I got a spot.
It's like LeBron returning to Cleveland.
Yeah. So I was very excited about that, and I just started training like crazy. getting ready for 10th grade. And then 10th, and at the end of 10th grade, people started to find out a little bit about me. And the summer after 10th grade going into 11th is where my life changed, because I got invited to my first invitational camp. I ended up doing really well there. And by the time that camp was over, I already had 7 Division I offers.
Wow.
So it started by wanting to play for something higher than myself, then having to cancel all that out and go to yeshiva to even learn what that meant, even on a higher level. What does it mean to play for something higher than yourself? And I think like once you do that with anything in life, especially in sports, you have a massive advantage, because you're always extra motivated. You're fired up. Like maybe a player would want to take a day off. I couldn't take a day off because
you're playing for something bigger.
This isn't about playing something bigger than yourself. Or if you mess up, you got to pick yourself up quickly. You can't feel bad for yourself. So
that's really powerful.
It gave me a lot of, it was everything. It gave me like a blueprint.
So like being known as this Jewish Jordan and wearing a kippah when you play, did you ever experience any anti-Semitism on the basketball court?
I definitely did. But, there were a lot of, challenges, different arenas, different things playing, especially in college. But for the most part, I can't say that I didn't. I definitely experienced anti-Semitism. Like I definitely did. Like a lot of times my mezuzah in my room was, I get back to my room, it was thrown down on the floor. Stuff out of my locker was stolen. Or, fans at different arenas would say.
This is from people from your own school?
I don't know who was doing it, but it was happening. Yeah.
Right.
Especially at away games, some bad things happen. But for the overwhelmingly most part, like my guys, my teammates, my coaches, they were closer than brothers, until today, closer than brothers in real life. Even at that first camp I was telling you about, my first invitational camp, there was a group of guys from Baltimore that were invited. So it was like me, Melvin Scott, who ended up playing at North Carolina. I think he won a championship with them. Keith Jennifer, who ended up playing at University of Virginia. And we had like a group of Baltimore guys there. And one night I was running out of kosher food, so we just went to like a local gas station, try to see if there's anything kosher there. And somebody at the gas station started messing with me, saying things about Jewish people. And all the American guys, none of them are Jewish. The Baltimore guys just blocked me off in between them and the anti-Semitic person and said, "Don't even start with our Jewish guy here, right? Don't even start with, like, we love this guy." And so that, for the most part, my whole career was like that. And a big part of what I do today is also bringing cultures together, because I believe that basketball is a great unifier. So there were some negative things, but my teammates were always amazing. And also a lot of times when I proved myself and I overcame the initial anti-Semitic remarks and I showed that I was still a proud Jew, a lot of times even people that were negative to me, especially fans and stuff, they would like apologize to me after the game, things like that. So I think it's important to stay proud.
Yeah, they saw you play and they realized that they had they needed to.
You shut them up, basically.
Exactly. So backing up a little bit, talking about your high school career. So was there a point where you have this name and this kind of brand behind you, and did you feel like, you just spoke about how basketball can be a unifier? So in high school, when you were a bit of a sensation and you had a lot of people paying attention to you, so how did you handle that as a young kid, as a high schooler? The pressure and the attention. I mean, I think if there was social media at the peak of that, like as it is today, it would have probably been a lot more challenging, because there probably would have been a lot of negativity or a lot of positivity. So what exactly did you use, and how did you funnel that spotlight into your play?
Well, a lot of things. I always say, thank God I grew up in Baltimore, because I had the best family, the best community, and the best coach. My coach raised me my whole life. I still talk to my coach probably once or twice a day. I've met him when I was 6 years old. So that was like a really big miracle. And I know that he protected me from a lot of things that I didn't need to know about. But again, it was about playing for Hashem and something bigger than myself. So I don't know if you saw the movie Air that just came out.
Mm-hmm.
So like Sonny Vaccaro, who the movie's about, the guy who brought Michael Jordan to Nike, like after that all happened, he went over to Adidas and brought Kobe Bryant to Adidas. and I actually played for him at his camp during that time period.
Oh, wow.
So I got to experience all that. I played for Nike NBA camp, Nike, Adidas with Sonny Vaccaro. Like all played against that, all has got to experience it all. But again, because it was never about me, it was always about trying to do something bigger than myself. It allowed me to, as much as possible, handle the situation, I think, pretty well. Obviously, made a lot of challenges too, a lot of mistakes too. But for the most part, I think the key was, trying to play for Hashem. That was like
Right.
the
What's it
thing
like?
for me.
What's it like seeing a guy like Ryan Terrell come up and also do something similar to you, playing for something higher than himself and wearing a keeper on
Yeah,
the
I
court?
think I think is really beautiful to see, and I think everyone in their own way has their unique way of doing it. That's each person's job. You guys through media, BD through running, Ryan through basketball. Everyone has their unique way of doing it, and I think we're living in a special time because the world's a little bit more sensitive to that and accommodating and understanding of different people's cultures and things like that. So I think it's really beautiful to see.
Right. So speaking of other people's cultures, did you have people that you had been playing with and had a little bit of experience with when you ultimately decided not to play at University of Maryland? Did you have people that maybe weren't Jewish being kind of amazed by your faith and the fact that you wouldn't accept this offer in the place where you grew up because of the reason that you didn't want to play on Shabbat?
Yeah, for the most part, it was pretty positive. I mean, University of Maryland is like, especially back then, they won the national championship. It was pretty,
Big team.
to
Prestigious.
say no. Yeah, to say no, like, especially when I grew up in Maryland, there was a lot of stuff going on. But one person who was, very, I guess, accommodating or respected me or helped me a lot was a guy named Michael Sweetney, who ended up playing for the Knicks.
He was assistant coach at YU, right?
Yeah. So the way he got that job was when we were in high school, he was Mr. Basketball in DC. He was so good that Coach John Thompson, the legendary coach from Georgetown, he gave Mike a scholarship when he was in ninth grade. He was 14. He already offered him.
Wow.
And then when we were seniors, we got invited to play in this All-Star game called the Capital Classic All-Star Game. It's a prestigious All-Star game. And on the first day after practice, coach was like, partner shoot. And I could see that not everyone wanted to be my partner, really, type of thing, like because of the Maryland thing and because of who I just was so different and everything was just crazy back then. And Mike was like, hey, you could be my partner. And we ended up being partners that day, shooting partners. We trained for a week together. And then on the day of the game, we played really well together. I ended up winning the MVP of that game basically because of him. He would just get the rebound outlet to me and we were out. And we stayed in touch, dear friends, like brothers till today. And then when he told me some of the challenges that happened to him after playing in the NBA, and then he went to get into coaching, I was able to connect him with YU, and he's still there. And we're actually speaking tomorrow together on a panel in New York for the Jerusalem Post conference. And it all started back in high school.
Wow.
From that one moment where he was willing to be my shooting partner. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. I mean, that's just very impressive, and the connection that you still have with him is really great. So I was actually, when I was going through your career and some amazing things that you did and were able to accomplish, obviously right here in Israel, we want to talk as much as we can about the basketball game here in Israel. So when you came over and you came across overseas to play here in Israel, was it at least anything at the very beginning, in your experiences at the beginning, was anything like you expected? Was it significantly different? Can you tell us a little bit about the insight you had to when you first arrived here to play?
When I first arrived, for me, it was just like mayhem because I signed with Maccabi Tel Aviv, and Coach David Blatt, the legendary coach, he brought me over here. Moni Fanan, a legendary general manager from Maccabi, picked me up at the airport straight to a press conference. I mean, it was just, I went to the Kotel. There was everyone. It's hard to even imagine like how many people I could not take a step on the street anywhere in Israel. I met with the president. It was crazy. It was just so crazy. But for me, like my main thing were like in my contract, I was never going to play on Shabbat. And also I wanted to live with my grandmother, who was a Holocaust survivor. She was like my hero. She lived in Herzliya.
Wow.
So once I got those two things locked down, that I knew I could live with her at her apartment and knew that I would not have to play on Shabbat and I'd be playing professional basketball in Israel. It was great. Another big, takeaway for me is now I see there's like more Americans that come to play in Israel, Jewish Americans, and it's more of an option now for people, which is great to see. When I got here, I don't think there was one other one in the league at the time when I first got here. So Tal Brody, who was the legendary first, I guess, American to come over. My first year in Israel, he invited me over to light Hanukkah candles at his house.
Wow.
And that was like a nice moment for me that he kind of took me under his wing a little bit and welcomed me to Israel. That was a nice moment for me. And until today, we're very close. Until today, I try to do that now to all the American players that come over. I try to, be there for them too. So that was a nice moment.
Wow. We read that you had a few injuries and a little bit of setbacks. How did they kind of shape your perspective on perseverance and resilience playing ball?
Yeah, so been through a lot in my life. I had a really hard challenge before I came over to Israel with an anti-Semitic coach. But I picked myself up from that, came to Israel, got here, got traded, and then had a pretty good rookie year after everything I've been through. It was pretty good. I got invited to the dunk contest for the All-Star weekend here in Israel. And I missed all three of my dunks in my rookie year. And they were all dunks that I had never, ever missed, like ever since 16, since like high school. And here I am like missing them. And after the dunk contest, I was like, man, I can't believe I missed those dunks. I need to like get myself, like I need to even get stronger. So like when in the when I was pushing myself so much, and I pushed myself already so much, but I didn't realize that really there was already something really wrong with my knee. And that's why I missed the dunks. And it didn't even cross my mind that was the issue. And then when I pushed myself even more, I basically like destroyed my knee.
Oh,
and
wow.
I fought for 7 more years to come back, and I kept on getting contracts, but I did every surgery, every rehab, pushed myself to tears every day. But unfortunately, my knee never healed. I'm 41 now. It's still never healed. So I'm proud that I never gave up, and that I did everything possible to get back out there. And I think that helped shape me, to answer your question, with sensitivity, because it's almost like I lost everything I was working for right when I was at the height of it, right when I reached my goal. It got taken away from me. So that made me a lot more sensitive and a lot more creative. And a lot of what I do today, I would have never been able to do had I not lost my knee. I think I understand my mission in this world much more too through the knee injury. Like if I wouldn't have gotten hurt, maybe statistically my career would have been much better, but I don't think I would have reached my potential as much as a person of what Hashem is expecting me to do in this world. And, ultimately I look back and it's like, the main point, I got to like do some cool things on the court, thank God. But ultimately, like, I think my main thing is like, what am I going to do with the sensitivity and creativity that I learned specifically through losing my dream instead of what I actually got to accomplish is what fuels me and guides me on my day-to-day till today.
Do you like to kind of guide the same perspective when you coach other young youths? I know Zev Reamer, I played with him in high school a bit. I know you guys trained last year. So how do you kind of like put this perspective of playing for a higher level while playing basketball into these young youths today?
Yeah, I try, everything I went through, I feel like I went through so that I could help the next generation of players. I love coaching. I'm still on the court, always with the next generation of players. And I try to give them everything that I learned so that it could be as smooth as possible for them and that they could, do it in a very happy and meaningful way, a successful way. And I think that like Judaism gives you the perfect balance for that as a basketball player. Otherwise, sometimes you get too carried away with just the basketball and you could get burnt out or not be well balanced. Like look at Joker. He was so great the other day. I don't know if you saw the interview. They asked him, they're like, hey, what have you done to prepare for the finals? He just gave such a great answer. He's like, I'm spending time with my family. Like I thought that was like great. Like, I was just like, he's like well balanced. Got to be well balanced. Like when you're on the court, you got to give 1,000,000%, but like you got to be able to like like the Rambam says, have a good balance in life. Be mindful of what you're doing throughout the day. So, yeah, I think Judaism's a great advantage in that sense.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I think it's definitely a blessing for you to be able to have that perspective. And a lot of athletes, you can tell a lot of times in their careers they lose that perspective and they have a little bit of a struggle with what they're doing. And for you to for you to acknowledge that you're playing for Hashem and you're playing for something higher up is obviously amazing. And the Kiddush Hashem that you made, just as being as good of a ball player as you were, and spreading that as a influencing kids to be better and influencing other people and teaching them about, just Judaism and your faith as a whole is something really cool, and was just a huge reason why we were so excited to get you on. It's just really amazing to see that the impact you were able to have worldwide, like here in Israel. A lot of people, we talk about just basketball here and basketball in the U.S., and we're able to, thank God, with this platform, bring as many people as we can to talk about it. But we also just like to talk about growing the game in Israel in general. Right. So we are, big fans of the Winter League here, which is the top league here in Israel. We try to talk to as much players as we can, and how the sport is growing in Israel as a whole, because we're super interested in that, and we want to, as much as we can, we want to be even a little part of a little bit of the excitement of the game here in Israel. So since you came in 2002, which is a very long time ago, and how it has changed the kind of the trajectory of basketball here in Israel, can I ask you, what have you noticed about the basketball culture here, that today it's everywhere, and that Israelis love the game and they love to play it, they love to talk about it. So how have you noticed that what the attitude towards basketball has changed in the past 20 odd years?
Yeah, so when I came over and I initially played here, my parents and family couldn't even watch a game. That's how far back the technology was. They had no chance. I would have to either get the VHS and send it to them, or who knows what. Like I said, there was barely any Jewish Americans that came over to play or even thought about doing it. And I ultimately played about 7 years through all the injuries, and I've been front office or involved, at the professional level of, mostly with Hapoel Jerusalem for the last 10 years. I also did about 2.5, 3 years with Maccabi Haifa back when they were an elite team. So I have a lot of experience, and I think the way that it's ultimately changed is technology is amazing, which has made Israel a more attractive place. More players see what's going on, more accessible, able to find new players and bring them over here. Very sought after place to play. There's more general managers from the NBA. I work very close with the NBA on a lot of sports tech stuff that I'm involved in. Everybody knows about Israel now. There's always GMs coming over here at the games. And I think, Israel, just as innovative as it is, Israel was the first professional league to come back from even before the NBA went in the bubble. Israel was the first league to come back and complete their season during the pandemic out of any professional league in the world. Israel is cutting edge. Israel's a leader in so many areas for such a small country. And it's also, I think, a leader in professional basketball and how to run a successful league. I mean, look at the sponsors that are involved at the league now. Look at the people that are buying teams, that are involved with the teams. There's so much excitement. And I just feel like the more cutting edge and world-class technology we could bring to this league, the more sponsors and money we could pump into this league as well, which will ultimately bring even, more talent, more recognition to Israel in a positive way, and accomplish even better stuff out there. So it's exciting to see. And
I wanted to ask you, how have you been able to kind of put basketball and work together and make this new product that you have, the AvivNet? How'd you kind of think about that?
Yeah, everything for me stems from giving back. And again, the same source of trying to do things for higher cause and help. And during the pandemic, we got an email that said, can't pass basketball because there's bacteria on the ball. I was like, we got to do something about this game that I love. And I said, well, why don't we create a net that's antimicrobial and moisture wicking? This ball's been slippery for many years. It's hard to play with a slippery ball. I'm like, well, there's materials that could dry the ball quicker, like high performance materials. No one wears a regular jersey anymore. Everyone, serious player, is going to wear a high performance moisture wicking shirt, right? Or jersey.
Right, yeah.
Well, why are we still using the same net from 100 years ago? Nylon net or whatever. So in Israel, they have the world leaders in fabrics and materials. So we were able to make a net that dries the ball 11 times more than a standard net. And also it's made out of antimicrobial materials. Plus you could advertise on the net or customize the net. So that's been really fun. And again, Israel's the first league in the world to have in-game advertising on the net. Bank Mizrahi was featured on the net in games. And now it's starting to get to leagues outside of Israel. We just in Europe and hopefully in America now too. So it's been great, and it all stems from wanting to help players stay safer and allow them to play better. Also worked for Fabric, which is unbelievable fan engagement technology. We did a lot of great work with the NBA at All-Star Weekend,
Awesome.
and the last preseason summer league in Vegas. So also just the technology that's helping to bring people together and help and do good things. So it all stems from, like, Judaism teaches us, like, you save one person, you save the whole world. It's not just physically. Like, my day to day is just in between. From the second I signed on to here and another call, to this link that you gave me, someone from Italy just reached out to me about helping. That, like, big part of my day is just helping through sports.
Love
That's
that.
what it's all about.
Right.
Love that. We need those nets at our pickup games because we got a lot of sweaty guys and the ball gets very wet.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
We'll get some. So obviously you, as you mentioned, you are amazing at this and spreading the message that you want to spread to a lot of basketball players and Jewish players in particular, and just about faith and oneness. So let's just get the clip from you. You want to obviously bring people together as much as possible. And then we spoke about here before, we already went into the league here in Israel. So we've had a few players on, and we've talked to them about what do they find different about the league here in Israel as opposed to playing in France or playing in Italy. And a lot of them are mentioning how it's very family oriented here in Israel, and the games they have a lot of influence on the kids here, and they have a lot of experience working with them, and they know that the impact that they're making, even just as players, is amazing and is influencing these kids.
right, they feel it firsthand.
Right. That's a lot of them said that they can really feel the family impact of playing here in Israel. So, as your message, what would you like to say, to someone who maybe doesn't understand what we see, and maybe just as fans, but as also people who love the game of basketball and want to bring people together, what's just the straight up message that you can put out there, just to say, here's the game, and here's how it can bring you together, and here's how it can help everybody improve and just promote inclusion and have everybody have a good time together.
Yeah, I don't know if there's been a platform that's proved itself more than basketball over the years. Yesterday, on Friday before Shabbat, I did a clinic for special needs kids. It brought the entire community together, coaching special needs kids. I do clinics around the world for African American and Jewish kids. It brings kids together, and there's instant results. The kids exchange phone numbers and stay in touch. They would have never been friends or probably never met had it not been for basketball. And now they have lifelong relationships. It's a universal game, and the holiness. Judaism always tells us look for the holiness behind it. The holiness of basketball is it can unite people. It brings people together. That's what the holiness of this game is, and that's what I try to do. I'm an observant Jew that graduated from dominantly African American Christian school, and then I roomed with a Muslim basketball player in college, and we're all closer than brothers till today. My teammates at the Christian school, one of them was Brian Wright. He's now the GM of San Antonio Spurs.
Wow.
The other one, is Tony Skinn. I don't know if you saw that very, very famous video of someone making James Harden do a split in the Olympics and then dunking. That was my teammate, Tony Skinn, who's now a Division I coach.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a small world, basketball world, but the greatest impact they have is the small community of basketball helping other people, bringing people together, doing good through the game. And I think that's ultimately what we're supposed to be doing.
That's amazing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we know that's your message, and it is just something amazing that we want to just have everybody in the world here, if they could, just how powerful it is bringing people together through the game of basketball. And we are, of course, huge fans of you and of the message. And, we want to help it as little as much as we can, just to help promote that message. And we're huge fans of it. So
really, really appreciate you coming on.
We want to ask you a few more things before we wrap up, just a few little personal questions. We want to get to know you a little bit better. We did a segment here last week with Jon and I. We want to just give us really quick. We want to hear your top 2 or 3, basketball movies. We want to hear that. We had a bit of an argument last week, and we want to know, what are you thinking?
I think he's gonna say one of mine, actually.
Let's see.
Yeah, I think I liked Air a lot, even though it just came out.
Right.
It was very, very good. I would say my favorite sports movie, and it's not basketball, but sports movie, is Rudy, though.
Rudy's a great movie.
Rudy's a movie that I lived with and I still live with, and kind of felt very close to that story in a lot of ways on my own journey. I would say Rudy.
Wow.
And also Air. I think they're similar because it's like the same thing of like, you got like no chance of actually doing this, but you end up doing it.
You accomplish it. Just kind of like your story, and it's very inspiring. And it's not the first time I heard your story, actually. I was one of those students that you talked to in Maimonides back in Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston. Nice.
Yeah. So
awesome, yeah.
Appreciate you for coming there. I appreciate you for coming on. Really loved hearing your story. Keep inspiring the world, the Jewish world, the whole world, the basketball world. And thank you again. Thank you, guys.
It was a pleasure to talk to you. You really are, you're an inspiration to a lot of people.
Look with your work, guys.
Thank
Look forward to being in touch.
Thank you very much.
You.
Enjoy your day.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
So that was awesome. We had Tamir on. Air, which was a great movie.
Right. I
Rudy,
feel like that was the favorite.
I was thinking about Rudy, actually. My dad actually showed me Rudy. That was
It's a good movie. It's a football movie.
Football movie. Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did not get to Tamir was we wanted to get his finals predictions, which we missed on that. And we know we ended last episode. We spoke a lot about a playoff talk, but we kind of left off on game six. So we want to just add a little bit of this episode at the end. Obviously, we want our listeners to be able to listen to this episode whenever. So we don't want to have too much current day basketball talk. But Celtics unfortunately losing game 7.
Unfortunately.
Which was tough for my buddy John over here.
I watched the game.
Not worth staying up.
Brutal. I was up till like 6, 7 a.m. and we just couldn't get it.
Not very much mercy.
Tatum rolled his ankle in the first play. What do you want us to do?
It sounds like an
our
excuse.
Best player.
I will say that it doesn't seem like they're being very thoughtful of European fans. You always see they want to grow the game. They're having every game at 3 o'clock in the morning, which is tough. So real quick, John, we're now one game into the NBA Finals. We've got Denver up 1-0. I had said last episode, I think Denver in 6. What's your quick prediction?
I still think that the Nuggets are going to win.
Right.
I said if the Celtics move on, we'll win because I'm a Celtics fan. But now that the Heat won, I say Nuggets in 5.
All right. Well, we got Nuggets in 5, Nuggets in 6.
They're going to win at home.
We will keep you updated. And another thing we've got you updated on is some great episodes that we have coming next for you. Please stay tuned. Tamir was a great talk. We just love talking about him and that message that he really...
His message is so beautiful. He's just like playing for something that's bigger than you. When you're down on yourself, we hear these guys who come from America and they're here alone. And when you're playing for something that's bigger than you, it's like it gives you that push to keep going. And you can see that 7 years he was going through an injury. Mm-hmm. He still played through 7 years. It's very powerful.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy, and he speaks a lot at just spreading the message whenever he could, which is obviously we were lucky enough that he was able to come and speak to us, but we're just big fans of him in general and the message he puts out there. So with that, we're going to wrap up this episode of The Baseline. This was episode 6. We've got episode 7, 8, 9 on the way. Lots of exciting interviews. So from Audioversity, this is The Baseline.
The Baseline.
We are signing off. Find our podcast on Spotify. Find our podcast on Apple Podcasts. We are there. We are ready. We are going to pump out some great content with you guys.
Yes, sir.
Stay tuned to our socials. We appreciate you all for listening, and we'll catch you on the flip.
The Baseline. Stories from the court with Jonathan Meir and Meir Cohen.
All our shows and podcasts available online on our website and on all podcast platforms. Search Audioversity.